Hi, Jacqueline from Project Most here. Today we're going to be doing an experiment that involves aerodynamics and the weight of materials to build helicopters. So I started with a simple idea that you see a lot of people doing online, which is a very simple helicopter that involves a piece of paper and a paper clip. So I actually used part of a magazine, and I thought the paper would be strong enough, but then I did a bunch of experiments to see what kind of materials worked best for what I was looking for, because I wanted to build something that looked a little bit more like a traditional helicopter than this. So we have egg cartons at home, and if you cut off two of the little egg holders, they look like a little helicopter body. And I thought it would be fun to make a helicopter that looks like that. But in my experiments, I realized that they were heavier than what I expected them to be. So I started experimenting with different types of paper. So let me show you what I did. I started with the magazine, and your basic propeller looks like this. So it's almost like a Y shape, and I'll show you how to cut it out. But when you fold it, it looks like this. And I thought that the magazine paper would be strong. I also started with about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of paper, but with my experiments I found that I had better success with wider strips of paper. But this is one of the things that you'll experiment with, because who knows what kind of egg carton you'll be using, if it's the cardboard or the styrofoam. So the first thing you do is you cut a strip of paper, and this is just a standard sheet of paper. And then for the propeller part, you cut about halfway down. So these are going to be the pieces that hold it aloft and spin. And then for this bottom part, you do two little notches next to each other. And you leave this solid piece here that you haven't cut, because that's going to be kind of the strong part that holds the propellers. And then you can fold this. It's easier if you're on a table. You can fold this so that it's nice and strong. So this is the beginning plan. This is how I started. This is regular white copy paper. And then I took one of my egg cartons, and I cut a little hole in the top of the pair of scissors very carefully, and I slid this through, and I checked to see how it flew. Now you'll notice that it might not go through easily, so you can always fold the end a little bit so it's a little bit narrower to get it through. So there's your basic helicopter. It's a little floppy. It might require some tweaking. And this part is a little bit long. So you can use some tape and tape it to the inside. Or I found that because my the hole I cut wasn't too big, that it stays stuck in there. But I am going to cut off the bottom, just so it doesn't stick out. And then you give it a test run. Now it fell, but it didn't really spin like a helicopter. So that was the first thing that I did. So I experimented from there, and I found this was a envelope. So it is 2 sheets of paper, and then this was folded, so this is really strong. So I tried that. And there's a loose piece of paper here, just ignore that. By itself, this spins nicely, but I still didn't get the results that I wanted. So I'll show it to you. Sort of spins, but sinks pretty quickly. And then I also experimented with a cereal box. I thought, well, maybe my propellers need to be a little bit stronger. So I cut the propellers out of this, and I also used the top of an egg carton. And again, oh, I wasn't throwing it on the table, it might work better. Hold on. It spins, but it doesn't fly the way I want it to. The other thing I noticed was, even though I wanted my design to be complete, like a little helicopter pod, it turns out, this is my final one, it turns out that what worked best for me was half of the helicopter top without the bottom, and really nice and wide propellers. So this is about an inch and a half, I'd say an inch and a half worth of magazine paper, the cover, so it's really strong. And I folded this, and I didn't even bother taping the bottom because you can see it's nice and tight. This, if I drop it, it doesn't fly as nicely as I want it to, but if I throw it, then it spins. And really, the higher you get, the better it spins as it lands. So I'm going to do it all the way over here so that this table isn't in the way. And now the wind is blowing, so we'll see how it looks. Oh, so I don't know if you can see that, but all the way down at the bottom, all the way down at the bottom, it's spun. If I had a staircase in my house, I imagine if I stood at the top of the staircase and threw it down, it would spin by the time I got halfway down. It seems to take a bit of time for it to start spinning, but it does spin. I'll try it once more. Hopefully you can see it. So you can't see me because I'm all the way back here. If I throw it up high, by the time it starts landing on the ground, it's spinning. So your challenge is to experiment with different kinds of building materials. Try your white paper, try magazine paper, try construction paper. You could try cereal boxes or pasta boxes. What else? Oh, I know. I found some cardstock. And I did not test this yet, but I think this would be the next thing that I would test. It's that really thick kind of paper insert that comes in some of the mail. So this seems like it would make a nice strong propeller, maybe even better than the magazine cover that I have. If you do this challenge, whether you have success or not, give us a little tiny comment in the Facebook section letting us know what you did. And if you can take a picture and send us a picture of your helicopter, that would be awesome. We would like to see it.